Welcome to another edition of the Sports One. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Port. And once again, it is the Barnes and Tony Show. Anthony, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing very well, Brian. A little sweaty here in the studio, but nonetheless excited to be at this Wednesday hump day with you, Brian.
Yeah, and I would say you'll take sweating and winning rather than sweating and losing.
Yeah, dude. You mean rather than not sweating and losing? You mean?
No. I'm saying because like we're both sweating, but you're going through a nice.
Oh, you're saying you're
period.
yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying now. Yes.
I mean, don't you think it's not fair at this point, Tony? Like it's been long enough. Like they've been struggling long enough. Like I'm due law of averages, a good stretch, good energy. I mean, come on. Like it's not fair to me.
I mean, I think you're due, dude. Certainly do.
Are better times around the corner?
Always. I mean, how much more worse can you get? As Buffer clocks in. Speaking of better times around the corner, he says, "Hey, fellas."
You know what we know Buffer wants to talk about?
The Mets?
The world of Major League Baseball.
2-2, he got him swinging. The back-to-back strikeouts for Robbie Ray.
There's damage right there. Shohei. Way, sayonara. Where did that land? Stuck to Chapman, who leaps up and grabs it.
Story spins and fires. Out at first.
There it goes. See ya. Home run, Aaron Judge.
All right, Tony. I am getting too used to recapping Yankee losses, but here we are once again. And last night was one of those things. Like, are you kidding me? I mean, one of those games. It's all right in front of you, and like we've seen during this lull stretch that the Yankees have been going through, it's the pitching's working, the offense is not working. That's what happened last night. And obviously it's happened vice versa a bunch of times, but it was really a shame just because, we had 20 minutes on it. We talked about it a little bit at the Whiskey Barrel about Cole and, being the guy we want. And yesterday against a team that right now is in the playoffs on the road, he pretty much dominated them. 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs, no walks, 8 strikeouts, but obviously gets to no decision because of a lack of offense situation. So I guess between him, the entire bullpen, other than Loaizaga, those were the positives from a pitching perspective. But from an offensive perspective, I mean, ferocious. I can't think of a better adjective than that. I mean, you think about 3 for 37. This was a 13-inning loss. The Mariners walk it off in the bottom of the 13th, of course. But 3 for 37, 4 walks, 14 strikeouts, and 7 of those against Luis Castillo through 8 innings. He went 8 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 7 Ks. So completely dominated us. There were a few outs out on the bases, including, Judge getting caught stealing second, Benintendi getting caught stealing third. So you have that. You have 7 left on base. You have 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. And then Donaldson did hit into a double play. They had a chance there in the top of the 13th, couldn't get the runners in. Obviously, you go 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. That's just going to be concerning. So it's just tough to feel good about this one. And it's just, after the highs of snapping that losing streak on Monday, to come back with this and just put up an absolute goose egg. And I know, of course, like when we think about, the postseason, it'll be different because Stanton will be in the lineup, Rizzo will be in the lineup, and hopefully Matt Carpenter will be in the lineup. We'll see how that foot heals up. So you don't have your full lineup here, but yet there's a bunch of guys that will be playing in the postseason, and you want to see them step up. I know I've ripped Josh Donaldson all year. He's had a hot streak. Obviously, yesterday didn't do anything, 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. So I guess it's just a situation where guys, struggling, a lot of guys struggling all at the same time, or just having inconsistent games. You saw Aaron Hicks snap that, I think it was 0 for 32 streak and have 3 hits the other night. Here's an 0 for 3 game. Miguel Andujar, bless you, in his first game since being recalled from AAA Scranton, 1 for 5, 3 strikeouts. Obviously, it's been a while since he's been in the major league game. There's going to be an adjustment period. Glaber really seems like he's been struggling for a while, 0 for 5 last night as well. I don't know. I guess it's just for me. And I know I've asked you these type of questions and, just had these kind of concerns many times before, Tony, but I guess I can't put a finger on it. I know Luis Castillo's good. But even that, like against the bullpen, 6 innings against the bullpen. And I mean, you could go 3 for 37. I mean, what is that?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to put a finger on it as well. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, I think the other day we went over, kind of the bottom of the lineup of the Yankees, and I mean, it's not really that great. Like, yeah, I suppose they hit well sometimes, but like you mentioned, what IKF, Donaldson.
Yeah, well, actually, because of the injuries, they've been playing Donaldson, putting Donaldson hitting 4th, actually. And like I said, had a hot streak yesterday, obviously not so much.
But still, I mean, I feel like, for a pitcher like Castillo, I mean, I feel like that's not a hard lineup for him.
Yeah, but there's still enough guys at the top between LeMahieu, Judge, Benintendi, Glaber, if he, doesn't have his head in his ass. And then Jose Trevino, I mean, for a catcher, I mean, hitting 261, double-digit home runs. I mean, that's a guy like you can't just throw 3 fastballs down the middle. So that should be enough to something on the board. That's all.
Yeah, no, I suppose it should be against maybe, a pitcher that like Castillo. Castillo's really good, dude.
Yeah, but they tagged him for 3 runs at the stadium. I mean, that.
Yeah.
And the fact that, I mean, we're talking about a bullpen of Munoz, Sewald, Festa, and Brash.
Yeah.
And we got nada.
So
not one hit.
Are they just incompetent last night? What's the deal?
I mean, I guess just not execution. And that's just one of those things where I guess we'll never have, exact reasons of why they don't do this, why they don't do that. But it's hard for all of us Yankee fans. We see a game like this, and like I mentioned, a team like Seattle that right now is in position to be in the postseason, and it just concerns us that that's what we're going to see come postseason time.
Yeah, but I thought you're happy you're getting all your losses out now.
Yeah, but they need to stop now. I mean, luckily the Blue Jays lost last night, so the lead's still 10.5. The Astros won, so we're now tied for them with the best record. I think at one point we had a 5-game lead on them. So I mean, we are like, despite all of this and how negative it feels and how draining it feels, it's still, believe it or not, is all in front of us. But it's like, what are we gonna do? With the opportunity, I guess that's the thing. And I guess help may be on the way. I saw yesterday, I guess Rizzo said if he goes through warm-ups all right today, he would actually play in today's 4-10 game, the closeout game here in Seattle.
That's good.
So obviously, that would be a big boost. But and Nestor is on the hill versus Robbie Ray. Ray, we have hit him before. When he was, on the Blue Jays, and I think with the Diamondbacks, we might have faced him as well. So I think, there's a chance there. And then, there is an off day tomorrow. And then, we do have a 3-game set in Boston, actually all night games. And Boston looks terrible, but I don't know. I just, Fenway Park, I mean, sometimes we dominate them there, but I don't know. After what I saw last time, losing those last 2 games, I think we can't have performances like this, or we could be in danger of losing that series too. And we can't do that, of all things.
I mean, I know obviously the offense wasn't great, but it also seems to me, I mean, in a tight game like that, where it's, literally nothing the whole game, to get 2 outs at the, on the bases, what was it? Judge and Benintendi get throughout. You can't be doing that.
Yeah. And we've talked about this a while ago, but like I had mentioned, that whole, we're catching them by surprise thing, we're stealing. now it's like teams are ready for it. So I think sometimes, I mean, it depends on the situation, but we could kind of tone it down there. You know, when you look at the top of the 13th inning, obviously that was really their last chance offensively. You know, you start out with the ghost runner on second. Judges walks you first and second, nobody out. Benintendi strikes out looking.
Oh,
I mean, it's the extra innings, and I don't know, you're gonna strike out looking. And then they load the bases with a Marwin Gonzalez walk. And then Glaber strikes out. Glaber's done this in a big spot. I know he had the walk-off hits early in the year. He keeps doing it in the big spot, not coming up. So that killed us. And then Miguel Andujar, first game back in months, and he grounds out the short. But it's like bases loaded, one out,
dude.
First and second, no out. You got to get those runners in. And that's been the difference in this lull period. Earlier in the year, those runs were coming in. And it's just like I said, I mean, I think the majority of these guys, I mean, sure, you want to talk about, you know, even IKF to an extent, but obviously you think about Hicks mostly. And then, of course, Higgy when he's in the lineup. But the other guys, I mean, whether they're all-stars or not, some of them, everybody should just be able to play situational baseball and get that running.
Yeah, no, I think you're totally right. And I mean, to have that opportunity, dude, and to not kind of convert.
And Glaber just hit a fly ball.
Yeah,
just one out, just a fly ball. He had like, that just kills me. You know, John Sterling would always talk about that, just a fly ball, like, you know, or a grounder to whatever side it needs to be. You know what's kind of interesting? They're like on these road trips and stuff. Sterling's like taking a lot of games off. Do you feel like because they're doing that? I mean, he had an Ironman streak. He literally said he actually called every single one called every single one of Derek Jeter's games and saw all of his hits. So obviously he never missed games up until a couple of years ago. But this year, I mean, I want to say he's on 70% of the calls. Do you think because they're doing that, that means this might be the last year?
Oh, you think?
Well, because they're, you know, they have rotating guys. It's not one guy filling in. So like, I would think that they're kind of testing guys out, you know, to see how they feel. You know, Ricky Ricardo, the Yankees Spanish guy, has filled in, and then this series is Justin Shackle, who I guess he does the PA at Yankee Stadium, and he also is on towing the slab on John Boy as well. But with that being said, I mean, you think that would kind of set up, or
maybe next year is his last?
You would think they would almost announce.
They would announce at the
before
beginning of the season. Yeah, for sure.
That's gonna be tough for me, honestly.
Ugh.
A lot of people don't like him. Like my boy Mark, you know, that we just were talking with at the Whiskey Barrel. He can't stand him just because of the errors.
Yeah, the errors is kind of what does it for me too. I think he's called how many home run balls that were caught?
Oh, I mean, a lot, but it's just like when he does nail it, you know, a Judgian blast, Stantonian.
You just like it because he's a Yankee boy, dude. If it was Charles Barkley making mistakes, you'd be ripping him apart. You said Barkley the mistakes.
No, but we've talked about this.
We have.
The reason I like him is because I just feel like not every announcer brings that excitement when I'm all about the walk-off call, and I feel like nobody calls it better than him.
It's hard to.
You know what I mean? Like that, because it just kind of energizes you. You know what I mean? It makes you feel like you're not just watching a regular season game in August. You know what I mean? You feel like every game is October. That's what I like. But I understand the errors. I get that. But it seems like he kind of like is a little more conservative with balls. Like, it's deep to left. It's gone. Like that type of thing.
Yeah.
Broadcasting's fun, though.
Broadcasting is a lot of fun.
I can't wait to call it Yankee game, and we're gonna do it.
Oh yeah, it's gonna happen, dude.
I would love to do a live stream of the Subway Series, but I have a feeling we might
have
to go to copyright school.
Oh
man! But I mean, I guess to kind of just sum up this conversation, it's just last night was disappointing. Obviously, from a pitching side, it's a positive. Loaizaga, I mean, he's the one that blew it. I mean, he didn't get hammered, but it's just like give up a couple hits, walk a guy. You can't do that. And so I don't know. Hopefully, I think he's important. I think we need him to play some type of role in the bullpen come the postseason time. And it's just like it would be so big to just make a statement, close out this game this afternoon, and then sweep the Red Sox, because the Red Sox are done. Sale, the bike injury. There's no way they're making the playoffs. The Orioles have passed them in the standings. We need to sweep them. I mean, don't you almost feel like it's a must sweep? I mean, 2-3, I guess we'll take, but it should be a sweep.
Has to be
a
sweep, dude.
Especially the way they've been playing.
Yeah.
3-7 in their last 10. But I mean, do you think though, like this next week? I mean, is this? I mean, I know obviously at the end of the day, the postseason is always going to be the most important part. But as far as like the regular season, like is this stretch, with the road series at Fenway Park and then home series against Tampa, Toronto, and the Mets really going to shape kind of how this season, winds up?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you think about it, like those Tampa, Toronto, and the Mets. I mean, those are 3 really good teams. If there's anything left in like the Yankees tank in terms of just like producing against good teams, I mean, you'll find out then. I feel, because even if they sweep Boston, like that's good, but I mean, Boston is so trash. Like you should be doing that.
Yeah,
face some good teams in the tough kind of back to back type of schedule.
Yeah.
And it's going to really, emulate what's going to happen with them in the postseason.
And, I mean, just for today's game specifically, I just feel good that I know Ray's very inconsistent. And I feel like Nestor, 95% of the time, it gives us a competitive effort.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you've noticed, a lot of times lately, they're pulling them 90 pitches, 87 pitches, 5 1/3. What do you think about that? Like the first side of trouble come like the 6th inning, they're like pulling him. I mean, do you think he should be more of a 105, 110 pitch, or is it all situational?
I would like to think that he could be, 105, 110 type of, pitch count we're looking at. But maybe the Yankees are trying to conserve him a little bit, in terms of using him so much, having him for the postseason. I mean, this is kind of a newfound talent, I suppose, out of Nestor, right? So maybe they also want to keep his confidence up,
Yeah.
Just don't get him too popped. Let's up a run. Well, you gave us like 5 1/3. You did what you were supposed to do. Like that's fine.
And I mean, part of it might have to do with innings pitched as well. So last year was his career high of 93 innings. He's at 112 right now. And then other than that, in the majors anyway, the highest innings he had was 2019. He pitched 66. And I'm just checking here with the minor leagues actually. So even in the minor leagues, is high in 2018 was 115. So that might have something to do with it.
Yeah, that's true.
But I've always thought, I don't know about you, but it's like innings limits are kind of BS because it's like really about the amount of pitches, not about the amount of innings.
Right.
You kind of agree with that?
Yeah.
Like stressful innings versus easy innings.
Oh yeah, of course, dude. What do you know how many pitches he's
throwing this season?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I could look it up, but like I said, they don't push it with him.
Right.
That's the thing, and I don't know. And then you used your whole bullpen basically last night, but you do have an off day Thursday, but it is a long travel. You do want everyone to be fresh. I mean, I still say just for this game specifically, especially, I say you got to get 7 innings out of them.
Yeah, at least.
This way, just nice and fresh for Boston, because just feel like obviously there's games at Fenway Park that are low scoring, but I don't know. It feels like whenever it's Yankees, Red Sox, it's 10-8, it's 7-6. It's not 1-0.
How was Chapman last night?
Clean inning. So I mean, it was the 8th inning,
right? But still,
ERAs come down. I think over a run now. We're at like 4.28. And Clay Holmes, clean inning, not a save situation, but I mean, they could have lost the game. It was the bottom of the 9th inning. So at least that's something, gets a good Mariners team here. But I mean, everything that I've been saying to you, Tony, I mean, if you were in my shoes, would you feel kind of the same way? Or do you feel that I'm a little too nervous, even though it looks awful?
I would be very nervous.
So you would feel exactly the way I feel.
Yeah.
All right. So at least I know that I'm, reasonable here. I'm not, just
crazy.
imagining things.
Yeah.
Mark was literally just texting me and my friend Corey, who actually you met at Dockside the other night, that, he's like almost basically calling it, saying, "Oh, we know this happens in October. This is terrible.
Wow, dude.
We know it, pitching staff is injured and they're not going to hit good pitching in the postseason." I mean, what do you think about him making that call?
I mean, it's a possibility, right? But I mean, to call it now,
time for the best.
Yeah, right. He's walking the plank already. Like, oh man.
Yeah, like that is a little ridiculous. And I even told him, I'm not saying it's not. It is a terrible sign. I understand that it is a terrible feel, but we got to just grind it out and just get through it, because championship teams, they get through stuff like this. So this is a true test right now. Starts at 4:10. Robbie Ray versus Nestor Cortez. So can't wait to talk about this a little more. But of course, Tony, it's Mets time. Another victory. Tony's beaming. How did we get there?
All right. So obviously, Brian said it. Business as usual over here on the good side of New York. Mets won 6-2 against the Reds last night. And, I guess I just noticed this now, but the Mets now have a better record than the Yankees.
By what, one game?
Yeah. That's all it takes, Brian.
Yeah, but as you said at the Rangers game, it's not over yet. But it's actually not over yet.
All right, so we had Carrasco on the mound last night, and again, you talk about someone who you were hoping to give you some length, just because I feel like you've been using your bullpen a lot, and yeah, you just got Trevor May back, but I mean, he was injured for a while. You don't want to just throw him in there. You want to kind of ease him back in, which is Carrasco gave us 6 2/3, 7 hits, 2 earned runs at the end there, 9 Ks for Carrasco. I want to say that's a season high. I don't think he's hit double digits before.
I don't know why I thought one game
double digits.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually check that. But continue on while I'm checking.
So only 1 walk, so his control was nice. He threw 88 pitches. Obviously, dominating some batters. With those breaking balls and off-speed pitches here. Gets into a little bit of trouble right in the 7th. And that's kind of where they decided to pull him, and they brought in Givens just for an out, which I kind of like that.
Nice and easy.
Nice and easy. Just get 1 out, dude.
It's the Reds.
It's the Reds, dude. We were up. It's not like that. It's not right. It's really that tight at that time. And he does. He gets the 1 up, 1 down, which is nice. And then Trevor May does come in there for the 8th inning, and he pitches himself into a little bit of a hole. Gives up a hit, walks 2 for the bases loaded here, but then strikes out 3 batters.
Just to update this, so June 6th in San Diego, got the win, 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, no walks, 10 strikeouts.
10 strikeouts? Damn. But good for Carrasco. There we go. So obviously the bullpen coming in and doing a decent job. To have May back is huge. And again, I know he kind of pitched himself into a little bit of a hole here. And you really don't want to see that. But regardless, I mean, he's kind of freshly back off the IL here, and he pitched his way out of it. Buck kept him in. Obviously believes in Trevor May, and he got the job done, which is nice. And then Lugo was able to come in and close it. But in terms of the offense, and I mentioned this yesterday, if it was going to be Vogelbach or Naquin, it's going to be your Lindor, Alonso, and who scores first? I believe in the 3rd inning it was. Yeah, Lindor, nice 2-run homer, putting the Mets up 2-0. And then from there, next inning, we have McNeil following him up. A nice bomb homer, dude. I think it was 4-10, I think it was. And then McNeil again with an RBI single. Ruff scores. I think Ruff too. Yeah, in the 7th, he had a nice RBI single or 2 RBI single. I know Brian kind of knocked Ruff a little bit, but in reality, I mean, he may not be batting phenomenally. What is he? He was 2 for 4 last night with 2 RBIs. He's batting .223. I feel like in the past week or so, he's gotten quite a few RBIs for the Mets. And hey, man, I mean that's kind of what he's brought in to kind of play. And he looked pretty good at first base as well. Because Alonso was DHing last night, I guess, to give him a rest. But hey, man, I mean, it's like I said, business as usual here for the Mets. It's the Reds. You expect to beat them. And like I said, it's one night. It's going to be a few guys. The next night, it's McNeil. It's Lindor. I really do think that the spreading of the wealth here for offense is great. And now we got Taijuan Walker on the mound, who I would imagine will have a nice bounce back outing, from that 1 inning, 8 earned run stint he had against the Braves. So hey, you got to be excited for the Mets. They're really hot right now, Brian.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess it's kind of gravity, Tony. What goes up must come down.
But for Taijuan Walker, last start gave up 8 earned runs. If the trend continues, would you bench Taijuan Walker because he collapsed last year? I wouldn't bench him.
I prefer. Listen, Tony's a little more confident in him than me, but if I was a Mets fan or in the Mets front office, Buck Showalter, I want Taijuan Walker nowhere near the mound in the postseason. And I just think it is a matter of time because we've seen this his entire career, and you don't get to the middle or really the 3/4 part towards the end of your career and all of a sudden change the narrative. We've seen what Taijuan Walker is, and I just don't think you can count on him in a big spot. I know he pitches well in the first half, but he's not a second half down the stretch pitcher.
I mean, the reality is, I think that last outing was kind of a freakish outing. I mean, we talked about it, his front spike, whatever, he kind of hurt himself. I'm sure he tweaked something because nobody just gives up 8 runs in the first inning, especially like Taijuan Walker, who is a really good pitcher. I mean, yeah, he collapsed last season. But, I mean, I feel like he hasn't even had a season of that caliber, at least to start off with, in forever, if at all. And right now, I mean, yeah, we're in the second half, and he's still pitching well. Other than that last start, I mean, I think I think it's crazy to me to have more confidence in Garrett Cole than it is Taijuan Walker.
That's just crazy, honestly. That literally is just crazy because he's never even pitched in the postseason. Garrett Cole has had shutouts.
How's he doing now, dude?
How's he doing now? I mean, he hasn't had many opportunities recently.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, come on, Tony.
We'll
you
see,
even
dude.
know
We'll
that's
see.
crazy.
I'm not benching Taijuan Walker if he has a bad start today. That's ridiculous. He's been one of your better starting pitchers here. I mean,
but listen, Tony, and not to interrupt here, but I have to say, as well as me, narratives change quick, and obviously, last start was awful.
Mhm.
If he has something, 3 innings, 6 earned runs, I mean, you're definitely going to have a little trepidation.
Yeah, sure, but I mean, is he still better than Carrasco? Do you have more confidence in than Carrasco than Peterson? Absolutely.
I mean, Carrasco's pitching the postseason,
possibly even Bassett too. Honestly,
possibly. I mean, I think as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I think Bassett is surefire your third starter in the postseason. I mean, you think there's a question there? You're because I know originally I think you said you wanted Walker there.
Yeah.
I just feel like no way, man.
But I feel like Bassett has been kind of up and down, and as of late, he's been really good. Yeah, I mean, he gave us some length on the weekend. That was great. But I mean, again, in the postseason, I mean, I'd have to see more from him.
Tony, how about this, though? We talk about Taijuan Walker.
Yeah.
So if we're looking at it from a career perspective, first half of his career, 32 and 24, 3.49. Second half, 15 and 21, 4.75.
Okay.
Over a career. I mean, big sample size, over 300 innings. So,
I mean, that's true, but I still feel like it's, it's a little different. I feel like this season, just by the feel of it, by the eye test of it, dude. I mean, take Nestor Cortez, for example. Okay. Right. I mean, he obviously was nothing before this year, and you trust him to be a 2-star in the postseason.
Yeah, but you know what the difference is?
What's the difference?
He didn't really pitch that much. Taijuan Walker's had full seasons.
Yeah, he didn't pitch that much because he's not good. He wasn't good. But he got cut from the Yankees. He was not good. All of a sudden, it's 1 year he's good, and he's your second starter.
But I think it's because
and he hasn't pitched in the postseason.
But I think it's more because obviously, he's pitched well this year. But I think it's just for him why a lot of people have confidence in him is the competitive nature. I mean, you see it right on his face and the demeanor. It doesn't seem like he's backing down from everything. We saw him mic'd up at the All-Star game. He's all fired up. And I just feel like there's something to be said about guys that really struggle to get to where they want to be in the major leagues and aren't playing for 7 years and then have a postseason start versus a guy who's up and down for years and finally gets that opportunity. I don't know. I just feel like there's a different attitude, a different mentality. And I think that's the advantage he has over someone like Taijuan Walker.
I don't know. You tell me Taijuan Walker doesn't have the demeanor to be a starting pitcher? He's fiery.
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, hasn't pitched in the postseason. And has collapsed in the second half. And I mean, he killed the Mets. I mean, last year, he might have been what kept the Mets out of the playoffs.
A lot of things kept the Mets out of the playoffs. Okay.
Big reason, though.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, starting pitching in general was a big reason. But I feel like right now, I would be surprised to see Taijuan Walker coming out tonight against the Reds and having a clunker.
I would be surprised to see him coming out tonight, too, because it's a 1 o'clock game.
Sorry, whatever.
So, tonight, at least you can find a little humor in that.
No,
come on,
absolutely not.
It's a 110 start. Anyhow,
dude.
Prefer another comment here. Walker slept walked the second half last year. So
no, that's fine. And example. I think he was. It seemed like he was out of shape, and I said it before. He's lost some weight. He seems healthier, and I think he's kind of, you know, ready to be on a contending team and to contribute.
But in all seriousness, though, because I know a lot of things that we debate and have, strong opinions on. I mean, you really though have this blind confidence in him. It's not just because I just keep saying that he collapsed, he's not that good. I mean, you really deep down, you really believe it, honestly.
I mean, he could be better, but yeah, it's not like I'm not starting him in the postseason.
Yeah,
he's a great pitcher.
Honestly, and listen, I understand the narrative, like for today, for instance, but I think today's a tricky spot, and I don't know. That last game of a series, an afternoon game, Reds haven't played well this series. I think it's a spot where you can get caught off guard. So I will be honestly impressed if he gives them 6 shutout innings. I might honestly change my tune here, but for some reason, I just think something's going to go wrong today. I don't know what it is. It's just a feeling that I have.
All right.
But you understand what I'm saying about that afternoon game, last game of the series.
Dude.
I mean, we've seen crazy stuff happen there before.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just trying to see here. Okay, so the Mets are off as well, and then it's tomorrow. The series against the Phillies. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
buddy.
So I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. But speaking of that, and picks. Last night was our first of the new pick segment here, going through September 9th. I went 2-2, picking up victories with the Padres and the Dodgers, but getting shellacked with the Cardinals and the Yankees with that heartbreaker. You go 3-1, hitting on the Mets, the Braves, the Phillies, but falling with the Blue Jays. So let's do it again here, Tony. What do you got for your first selection today?
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty simple.
Tony's favorite team, unequivocally.
Give me the Mets.
I would say, I believe in Taijuan Walker. I say he gives you 6 innings, 2 earned runs. And, I think on top of that, TJ Zuch, I want to say it's how it's pronounced, pitching for the Reds today. A young arm, 27 years old. He's 6'7", 225. That's pretty impressive. However, he's a bullpen guy. Well, I guess technically it says he's a starting pitcher, but he's been used out of the bullpen a lot by the Reds.
But hasn't pitched this season, right? I'm showing no numbers. Is that?
Let me double check here. 2021. Yeah. So yeah, hasn't pitched this season. I guess minors.
That's what I would think.
Yeah, 27 years old for sure. But he's, like I say, he's been called up last season. I mean, he, doesn't really have a lot of good stuff. He was called, I think, he had a game against the Yankees actually, where he came in for relief. I think gave up 3 earned runs in an inning. I mean, didn't really seem like he had the stuff last season. I'm sure he's been working on a lot this season. However, we know the Reds are, tight for some starting pitchers. So I couldn't imagine the Mets having much of an issue in scoring more than 3 runs here tonight. So I would say give me the Mets. I would say 5-2.
Okay. So we'll see if they can complete the sweep here against Cincinnati before their off day tomorrow. Yankees will look to win the series, like I mentioned, 4-10 from T-Mobile Park, Cortez versus Ray. And I really think it's quite simple here, kind of really what I already said in terms of, Nestor giving you that 7-inning start, that you saw at Cole last night. I think he could have a very comparable start there. And I think it's a challenge to the Yankee offense. And like I said, question if Rizzo will be in the lineup, but regardless if he is, if he isn't, I mean, you absolutely just had an atrocious performance last night offensively. You got to rebound today. And Robbie Ray is a guy that has good stuff, but can get knocked around. And I think to really just get that morale back up, I mean, look for DJ to lead off with a single and Judge to hit a home run. I think that would really just set the tone for the game. And I'm expecting that to happen. So let's say, 7 innings shutout ball from Nestor, that 2-run home run in the first, and then Miguel Andujar will actually go deep in the 6th. Let's just call it 3-0. Clay Holmes, back-to-back days, gets the save, and Chapman sets him up, striking out the side in the 8th inning. And the Yankees travel to Boston with that off day coming up, finally getting another series win here and starting that good run in preparation for a sweep at Fenway Park.
Love it, Brian. My next pick, I'm going to go with the White Sox. They're playing Kansas City tonight. Johnny Cueto on the mound. I think I took Johnny Cueto in a start against Oakland. I think he had like 7 innings, maybe like 2 or 3 earned runs, pitching pretty well. 2.91 ERA here. And I know Tim Anderson's on the IL, but I would imagine against Chris Bubic. Is it Bubic?
Bubic.
It's Bubic, really?
Yeah.
That's disgusting. He's 2-6 in the season, 5.27. I would think Jose Abreu. I said Anderson's on a 10-day IL. I think a torn ligament in his thumb or a strained thumb, whatever.
Yeah.
But Luis Robert, I think will have a nice dinger tonight, dude. Maybe a 2-run dinger. Jose Abreu. Is it me or is he like not really that great?
He was so good
Like 2 years ago.
Yeah. And then I don't know what happened. I think honestly, there's some
Age?
disconnect.
He's pretty
Well,
old,
he's
right?
old. He's 35. But I think there's some disconnect in that clubhouse with La Russa. Jose Abreu. I mean, he actually is hitting. He's not actually doing that bad.
Well, I mean,
297,
right.
14 home runs, 55 RBIs. I mean, last year, 30 and 117. So he slugged 481 last year, 464 this year. Actually has an higher OPS because the average is higher. So kind of a give and take, but I think it's just, you would have expected some more power out of him.
Yeah.
But 27 doubles. So he is hitting the ball. So I think he's recovered after a slow start, but would have expected him to be in a better spot at this point.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I expect him to start that tonight. So give me the White Sox here. 4-3.
Revenge spot tonight. We talked about the Cardinals getting shellacked yesterday.
Oh, you think so?
Jose Quintana on the mound. Shaky spot in Coors, but this is more of just a reliance on the Cardinals offense bouncing back. Kyle Freeland, I've thought he's been trashed for years. So while Quintana might go 6 and give up 4, I think we're looking at double digits here for the Cardinals. Arenado and Goldschmidt aren't going to go 1 for 7 again. So give me the Cardinals 11-6 here, picking up that victory today.
All right. Do I go with the Orioles, dude? I think I might
Ride the wave.
ride the wave. I tried to ride the. I didn't ride the wave. I tried to ride the wave on Monday, but they had already started.
Right. You're doing it.
Yeah, I guess so. Jose Barrios
Has been awful.
And the only reason why his record's 8-4, I think, is because
Blue Jays.
It's the offense for them. But I feel like Dean Kremer over there will have a pretty good outing against this type of lineup here. Just looking, oh man. Last outing was against Pittsburgh. 6 and 1 innings pitched, 4 hits, no earned runs, 2 Ks. Wow. So obviously not a strikeout pitcher here. Young dude, 26 years old. Let's give it to him. Why not? Let's give him the win here. I would say Baltimore takes this one in another tight nail biter. 2-1.
It's crazy that we might be looking at the Orioles in the playoffs.
I know.
So I'm going to go with the Astros facing the Rangers, Battle of Texas here. Glenn Otto, Justin Verlander, complete mismatch. I think we see that on the field. I think Astros 6-0, Verlander, complete game shutout, 11 strikeouts.
Wow.
You notice not many pitchers finish games with 11 strikeouts for some reason.
Yeah.
It's always 10, it's 12,
like 13,
14, but never 11. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Anyway, my last pick is 4, right?
Yeah.
I'll take Milwaukee over Tampa Bay. Brandon Woodruff on the mound against Jeffrey Springs. I understand, Jeffrey Springs is pitching really well. Just looking at his last couple of outings, we had against Detroit, 6 innings, no earned runs. Cleveland, 5-3. Kansas City was 4 1/3. Boston was 4-3. Pittsburgh 6-3. So I guess he gives up a little bit. His ERA is still at 2.5. I guess maybe as of late, just has been giving up a lot of runs. But Brandon Woodruff, I'm looking up at this Tampa Bay lineup and their careers against Woodruff. Peralta, left fielder for Tampa Bay. You know him, right?
Yeah, they just brought him over from Arizona.
Yeah, he's 0-10 against Woodruff, striking out 5 times. Rosarina's 1-2. Walls is 0-2. Paradis is 0-2. I mean, it seems like Woodruff kind of has a few of their numbers for sure. So I would expect Tampa Bay's lineup to struggle a little bit against them. And of course, with the way, obviously, Milwaukee fighting, I feel like for wild card spot right now, I think, right?
Yeah, I've been fading though. Definitely been
fading.
fading.
Well, they beat Tampa Bay yesterday.
Yeah.
So I mean, let's do it again here tonight. I would say Milwaukee, 4-1.
Braves at the Red Sox. Kyle Wright versus Nick Pivetta. Braves won last night. No reason they don't do it again. Like I said, the Red Sox are a train wreck. And Kyle Wright, 13-5 this year, 3.22. So I want to say Austin Riley hits number 31 tonight. Matt Olson adds a home run as well. And let's say 4 hits for Ronald Acuna. Been a little bit of a slow return season from that ACL. And I think it's just all over the Red Sox here. I'm going to say actually 12-2, right? 7 innings, 2 runs, 9 strikeouts. Braves win again. So that's what I got, Tony.
Love it, dude. Great picks.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a fun afternoon. I mean, it's just crazy how we've just gotten to this point though with the Yankees where it just whatever way it goes, it's going to feel dramatically swinging that way. The dominant performance today, jump over Ray all early, everything's fine. Lack of offense again. Nestor doesn't make it through 5. The sky is falling. It's just crazy that we're at that point.
Yeah, it's tough, dude. I mean, I don't think anyone really would have expected the Yankees to kind of drop off like this,
Yeah. So maybe that means though that, a run like we saw at the beginning of the year is around the corner. Hopefully for their sake that it is and it continues on to the postseason. But obviously, time will tell as far as that's concerned. And the only other order of business here I just wanted to go over was we are starting the FedEx St. Jude Championship tomorrow.
Hot dog.
First leg, of the FedEx Cup playoffs. This coming from Memphis here. And they call it TPC Southwind. And yesterday the court did rule, the live golfers couldn't be in this. So
surprise,
Taylor
surprise.
Gooch and a couple others, but still have a lot of really every big name you can imagine, other than of course the guys on live. And some news yesterday: Cam Smith, who won the Open Championship, supposedly on the cusp of signing a $100 million contract with live, but will play the FedEx Cup playoffs first.
Wow.
So that adds some, controversy to this event. And it's a shame. It's another big loss for the PGA. But I've been listening to a lot of PGA Tour radio, and I think, a couple of things come into play here. Where push is going to come to shove is what happens with the ability to play major championships. I think that'll be a big deterrent.
The legend,
of guys going over there. If that ends up being, they can't play Augusta, they can't play in the Open or the U.S. Open. So time will tell there, as well as there's some conflicting reports that, like the signing bonuses they get up front. There's some reports saying that there's no prize money, that just comes off the top of the money. I don't know if you saw that, and then they kind of denied it, but then it's out there, so it's kind of weird. It just doesn't make too much sense. Nicer. So I think we'll have to see if there's some clarity on that.
Yeah.
Supposedly, too,
legend.
There's text messages between Sergio Garcia and Greg Norman, where Norman's saying, "Oh, don't worry about it. You could play it. PGA Tour can't ban you or anything." And obviously, here we are. So I think there's some major question marks, as well as I just think, especially if it is true that they don't get actually paid prize money for these events and it comes off the top, that it's just gonna ruin careers. And I don't know. I just don't see it having legs. You think it's there in 5 years?
No.
How long you think we're looking at?
3.
I hope it's 1, honestly. I prefer says legendary sound clip. What do you think he was referred to?
I mean, I assume that was
the legends. I think, because he was talking about that the other day.
The legends.
But anyway, back to the course here. There actually was, let's see. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 guys not playing because of injuries. Tommy Fleetwood, Lano Griffin, Daniel Berger, and Nate Lashley. So instead of 125, it will be 121. Obviously, a lot of guys in contention here. So like I said, all the big names. And you think about the top, I mean, Cam Smith is number 1 in points here. So he would, be considered the favorite. We've seen what Tony Finau has done recently. Rory's had a great year. Patrick Cantley won last year. Xander's always up there. Scotty Scheffler was on fire to begin the year. We saw the performance that Matt Fitzpatrick put on at the U.S. Open. And, of course, JT's legendary run at the PGA. So you think about all those guys, in addition to Jordan Spieth, Sungjae Im, Will Zalatoris, Tom Kim, who won last week, and, of course, John Rahm. So many different places to go here. TPC Southwind, definitely a tough course. Some water in play towards the end. We saw Koepka hit one out of bounds in 17 that cost him the tournament a couple of years ago. So a lot of stuff to keep in mind. But with all of that being said, Tony, what are you thinking here?
Ricky Fowler?
Ricky Fowler is in the tournament, but will most
You think he's going to get cut?
Oh.
Won't make the cut.
I think he will be at least 7 over through the first 2 rounds and get cut.
Really that bad?
Yeah. You're really taking him to win for Michael?
Absolutely. For Michael.
Unbelievable.
For Michael.
Irresponsible pick. Really.
What?
But just for Michael, it's okay. But I'm just saying, based on what we've seen, very unlikely. But I guess,
what are his odds at?
I have no idea, but it's probably like you could get him like 100 to 1 or more.
It better be more than that.
Yeah, probably 300 to 1. So, it seems like Cam Smith and even Tony Finau to an extent would be a chalk pick just because of, Smith, of course, how well he's played recently. Same thing with Finau. I'm going to go with Rory. I think he's a little fired up, seeing more of these defections to live. He's a big PGA Tour guy, and I think he's still reeling after losing that Open Championship to Cam Smith. And then the fact that, he's going to play the FedEx Cup playoffs and he's expecting to just win a $15 million prize and then head to live. I'm not letting it happen. So I think Rory McIlroy wins the St. Jude Championship.
He's the favorite.
You're looking at the odds right there?
Yeah, plus 900.
So PGAtour.com, power rankings, they go Smith 1, Cantley 2, Finau 3, Rory 4. But
really?
Obviously this stuff is subjective, and they always say, oh, Vegas knows. But I think in terms of golf, winning a golf tournament, it's just a little different.
Ricky isn't even on here.
Yeah, because it might as well be a write-in, Tony. Jeez.
Okay.
Wow. I mean, you're really taking this offensively.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
If you had to give me one other name, though, I'm just curious.
Zalatoris?
Law of averages?
Yeah.
Oh, man. But, yeah, should be a good tournament, so that'll get underway tomorrow morning. Obviously, we'll give you a leaderboard update. Other than that, sir, anything else on your minds?
Yeah, dude. And I'm excited to talk to you, Brad, about this. You may even want to stick around for it because we're having a screen time episode right after this, around probably the next half hour or so when Manny gets here.
Yeah.
Best Will Ferrell. Just for you,
so you
Brian.
Went Colin, and then you had to go to Will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I will, of course, tune in.
Speaking of the devil.
But, and of course, Manny is legendary. You're legendary. But Farrell, tough for me to take, Tony. You know that.
Manny doesn't like, Manny likes Will Ferrell. Brian doesn't like Will Ferrell.
I don't like any comedian. I cannot stand any comedian. I'm sorry. I don't like any comedian.
Any comedian.
I would give Kevin Hart a pass, honestly.
That is actually despicable. Horrific take. Terrible, dude. I don't like Kevin Hart.
Preferred says, I can't wait for screen time. Captain Jack. It's actually Gentleman Jack.
Gentleman Jack.
Gentleman Jack. Oh, man. Prefers the best.
He really is.
I said word. Ain't never told no lie.
Everybody definitely tune into screen time. That'll be a good time as always. And of course, we're hoping for some New York wins this afternoon. As I keep stumbling, I might need to get saliva reduction surgery at this point.
That's a real thing, Brian.
Is it really?
It is.
But yeah, I'm not going under the knife. Not going under.
No, I'll do it for
Anesthesia. No, not
Anesthesia?
for me. No,
never been.
You don't want to be. Let's just say that. But other than that, Tony, what a great show.
Great
day. And you really appreciate everyone tuning in and continuing to comment, like, and subscribe, as well as check out our archives on the YouTube page. So tons of fun stuff to watch there. as well as our summer collection, downtimetv.com. Want everybody to enjoy the day, enjoy the games, and we will see you mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.